What's up, guys, and welcome back to TechPlan. Today I'm going to show you how I set up this beautiful Spider Farmer grow shelf. Let's check it out. Alright, let's get this unboxing and setup started. This was probably the most fun unboxing and setup I've ever done because I really did a great job on the wiring and stuff, and you'll see that later. It's like one of my favorite things. It almost reminded me of like setting up a PC build. You'll see again a little later. Just a reminder, this is a sponsored video. Thanks to Spider Farmer, they sent this to me. They did reach out to me and ask me if I wanted to review something for them. I chose the shelf because I love shelves, especially mobile shelves. There is a really cool part of the shelf that you will see a little further on as we get this unboxed, but really it has these awesome, deep, sturdy trays, and that is something I don't see on any other shelf out there. This might be quite a long video, but again, I think it's worth seeing it because I'm going to go into detail on how I set this thing up and just how I wire everything up and make it nice and clean. This will also be a 4-part series. I'm going to get this one set up in this video, and then from there, I do want to start doing either hydroponics, or if you guys have some like crazy awesome like recommendation that really would jump out in the comments, maybe I'll use the shelf for that. But right now I'm thinking of making this like a food production shelf. I've always been obsessed with like producing food in the home, and I'm not a big fan of like those hydroponic towers, so I think I could do some pretty sick stuff with this mobile shelf. But if you have some cooler idea that might be worthwhile, I might explore that on one of the 3 shelves. My baby was born a couple days before this unboxing, and that's just how dedicated I am to you guys. But anyways, my son is down in the basement with me, so you might see him pop on camera every once in a while. I'm going to probably blur his face out just because I don't want to like put him on the internet quite yet fully, if that makes any sense. Kind of like his choice, sort of. But anyways, yeah, he was quite helpful, and we just started unboxing everything. From just the setup of everything, they got foam lining pretty much every part, so nothing's like rubbing during shipping. And it actually came like quite well, actually. I'm surprised that anytime something big comes to my house, it usually gets like thrashed. Like one time I bought some weightlifting weights, and the box almost looked hilarious. Like it wasn't even a box by the time I got to my house. But anyways, things are packaged quite nicely in here. Now, this thing does come with wheels, and that is a very important factor because I love the mobility. You guys know that my plant room is a little full, and you can see it in the background, and it's just tough to keep things in rigid areas. In fact, I do have some news that will be coming out shortly about my plans for the plant room. It's going to be pretty sweet. But anyways, back to the wheels. These are actually quite quality wheels. They've got little brakes on them, and they just feel good. I'm actually quite pleased with them. And again, wheels are a big deal to me because I like to be able to move this stuff around, and you'll see the way I wire this up, it'll all make sense. Now, I'm not one to really read directions. I don't know why, I just like to wing it, but I already screwed up this build. The only thing I would say that I would like knock on this thing, or my only like con, I guess, is the build is slightly clunky. The way it's set up, and how you put the screws in and hook up each new tier, it isn't the most easiest thing, but it's not hard either. It's just if you read the directions, you would know how to do it, but I did not, so I had to back out the screws. But you kind of put the screw into multiple parts at the same time as you stack things up. So just remember that so you don't like build a tier and then realize you have to undo it like I did. You'll kind of see here that I'm using my leg to pull the pole like outwards so it lines up with the holes, so then I can get the next one, like the outer pole, stuck on there and get the screw through all 3. So basically you're threading it through 2 holes and then into like the final hole that it threads into, and so you're kind of stacking things together. So it is a little clunky, and again, that's probably like the biggest like difficulty I had with the shelf. Other than that, everything went together pretty darn well. This shelf does have 3 usable shelves, and that is because there's only 3 trays. However, you could configure it differently and maybe put something on the very top if you wanted to. It's quite flexible. However, you cannot change the dimensions of the actual shelves, so they are at their fixed heights. There's no changing that, just the way it's designed, which isn't a big deal because you get the same 3 lights and it kind of divides it nice and evenly. And especially for something like hydroponics, or what I'm kind of planning for, that will work perfectly. Now, this shelf did come with the actual like Spider Farmer SF600 75 watt lights. These are pretty big units and they fill up the entire shelf, which is nice. And they are a pretty solid wattage for the shelf size, so you can grow quite a bit under here, and you're not going to have to worry about any sort of like reaching or anything. There's quite a bit of juice in these lights. It is a really nice, sleek look. The heatsink is basically just this really big white hood, so this will spread the heat, but it also helps direct the light downward, and I like the simple design. It does have a slightly odd hanging hardware. It's not a big deal and it's pretty flexible. However, you can definitely tell that these lights are meant for probably grow tents and not as much for the shelf. But again, I can make it work. It's not that difficult. It's just slightly clunky. But other than that, these are pretty solid lights. Now, this next part, I'm not sure if other people will like it, but I really love it. There is like a power supply for each one of these lights that is completely separate. It is a little clunky in the sense that it's like a big thing that you can like have to put somewhere, but you'll see at the end that I wire this up beautifully and it's absolutely perfect. The reason I really love these power supplies for the lights is I spray quite wildly, and honestly, I'm always worried about water with like mains electricity. And if you're not sure what that is, you'd have to look it up. But some of the Barrina lights I have, and again, I don't have a problem with Barrina lights, but the mains plugs go right in there. So the full like 20 amp, 120 volt is like right there at the plug. So if water gets in there, that freaks me out a little bit. However, if you look at these power packs, by the time I get them all wired up top, the like lower plug is only like 40 volts and the amperage is just not there. So it's a lot safer if it were to like malfunction or if I were to get water in there. So I really do actually like that. Even though they take up a little more space, I think it's just a lot safer in my setup. Now as for the actual fun part, or what I consider the fun part, I love routing cables and just making things look clean. A lot of my grow room is just so haphazard at this point that I'm like getting a good kick out of setting this up the right way the first time. So I'm really going to zip tie things up in like an intelligent way and get things set up in such a sleek way where this thing is just its own independent unit and I don't have cables hanging everywhere, cords anywhere. So the first step is just getting those power packs up top. Like I said, I spray water pretty wildly, so I want those like mains power up high where I can't really hit them with the water, and then I'll just let their little DC outputs come down towards the bottom, and that I feel like is a lot safer, way cleaner, and it looks awesome. You'll see then that I just run the cables down, and obviously the way I like position it, the furthest one goes to like the closest one, and then so on, so that way the cords all reach. But yeah, then I'm just like tightening down the cables all down the side legs so nothing can catch on anything, because again, this is a mobile shelf, so if you're going to set this up properly, you don't want a lot of stuff that can catch and snag. Trust me, I know by experience that you'll snag it on everything. I slap plants around like crazy with cords, and cords get hooked on stuff all the time. It drives me nuts. So I'm getting a lot of pleasure out of doing this. Like I said earlier, one of the big awesome things on this is these really big deep water trays, and they're full length and everything, and it's really cool. And you can see I'm putting 40 total pounds on there, which is quite a bit in my opinion, directly in the center. So it is not spread out evenly like across the entire surface. It's at the weakest point, the center, and you can see it holds it just fine. So this is really some thick stuff. It's not like some little seed tray that cracks if you just look at it. This stuff will support a lot of weight, and it's going to hold whatever you put in there. And this is why I chose this shelf, because I think these are really hard to find. They're very expensive usually, and so to get it kind of all in one setup is really awesome. Now, you will see that there's a change of clothes at this point, and that is because I actually ran out of power strips. I use so many in my house, it's unreal. I bet you I have like 25 in operation, but I needed another one because I wanted to also get all those like power plugs in up at the top and make those clean as well. So I put a power strip up there, and it's great to have extra plugs because I might need to add a fan or a water pump. You know, I did mention the whole aquaponic or hydroponics thing. So I have a few extra plugs to add stuff in there, and then I just bought an extension cord so I have a sort of tether that I can connect this to, and I can move it around while maintaining power. I do use a lot of outlets in this basement, so sometimes I have to reach quite a ways to get it hooked up, but it's just good that it has its own like umbilical cord in a sense, and I can move it around while still maintaining power. So again, I love doing this in a clean way, and snipping all those zip ties was a lot of fun, and just the aftermath is absolutely beautiful. I could be biased, but I think this thing turned out fantastic. My cable routing is probably the best I've performed yet, and I think it looks fantastic. Like I said, this almost feels like a PC build where I'm routing cables and setting up components, and I'm just in love with this thing. It's honestly awesome. It may have been a little clunky in certain areas, but overall this thing really seems to be awesome, and again, I love the trays on it. That is like what drew me towards it. I am planning on doing some sort of hydroponics rigs. I don't know if I'll do 3 different types on each shelf, or again, if you guys have some really interesting or cool ideas for how to utilize any of the shelves on this thing, let me know. I would love to do it. Again, there's going to be 3 more videos of me doing different things with this shelf, just because I want to try and experiment with different things you can do with a mobile shelf. So again, I'm always open to ideas, but for now, it'll be hydroponics of some kind. I hope you guys enjoyed this build and setup of this plant shelf, and you're looking forward to see what comes next with it. Again, thanks to Spider Farmer for actually sponsoring this video. It was really nice to get another mobile shelf. I love these things, and they really like add to my like tool set on what I can do in the future with this channel. Again, I got a lot of cool stuff planned and coming up, so this is just another awesome tool. So I do have some coupon codes in the actual description, and there are links to these products as well. So if you like them, definitely take a look. Well guys, that pretty much sums up this video. I hope you enjoyed this build. It was a lot of fun actually to route all the wires and get things zip tied properly. This is probably the first time I put some serious effort into getting things set up nice and clean. And I do love the mobility of this thing and how I've got it on its own little like umbilical cord, extension cord. It's great. I love it. Again, like I said earlier, let me know in the comments if you have any cool ideas you'd like me to try out with this or how you'd like me to outfit this thing. There's a lot of things we can do with it that could be pretty awesome, but it's up to you guys. And if you don't come up with anything, I'll probably just do hydroponics, but maybe 3 different styles because we do have 3 different tiers. So let me know what you think about that. And always guys, may your plants grow strong and healthy. I'll see you next time.